And there's the first touch of the ball for Dean, and he makes no mistake with his touch finder. 23 metres out from the Ireland goal line. Paul Dean, 7 internationals, the first at 5'8" against South Africa in 1981. Tommy Lawton throwing into the line out. Good attacking position here for Australia. Well won by Linehan. Bit of a scuffle behind the play. Dean again. Big kick downfield. Penalty, though, has been awarded. So a good jump there by Donald Linehan, the British Lions second rower. And Paul Dean, who's not renowned as a great punter of the ball, certainly gaining a lot of ground with that kick before the referee awarded the penalty. Incidentally, the referee this afternoon is Mr. Bob Francis again. He was in charge of the first international at Twickenham. Bob Francis from Wairarapa Bush in New Zealand. He certainly received a bit of a bath from the press over here for his display. But I think the Australians were quite happy with his performance. 10-metre line, Irish territory. Another good line out. Dean, they're running it here. Good kick by Finn. Roger Gould. Moss Finn with a lovely angle kick across field.
The inside centre then gaining 40 or 50 metres from that kick. The same sort of tactics in New Zealand employ against Australia.
Again, back at the line-out ball. Here goes Dean. Took his eye off it. Phil Orr tackled and flung into touch there. Manful tackle there by Tommy Lawton. But Australia expected to dominate the line-outs, but a couple of shocks early on for them. This Irish tight five, the front five, will be a much tougher proposition than the English tight five. Offside play there by Ireland, coming in on the wrong side of the ruck, and a relieving penalty here for Australia. Michael Lynagh, who scored that thrilling try at Twickenham. Struck that one beautifully and up towards the 10-metre line into Ireland's territory. He really has blossomed on this tour, Brendan.
He has. He's played superbly. If not at 5'8", then he's played at inside centre, and he's sort of very difficult person to leave out of the side now.
Another big jump for Ireland. Donald Linehan. Dean putting it into the box. Roger Gould waiting this time. Massive punter of the ball. He's following. Hugo McNeil dropped it forward. Advantage here for Australia. Mark Ella. Long pass. Campese. Off he goes. Matt Burke. Great attack from Australia.
Great work. Matt Burke coming off his wing and in support there. David Campese having the defence in 6s and 7s.
Penalty has been awarded to Australia, and a long cut-out pass it was from Mark Ella, which sent the rampaging Campese away. He certainly has captured the imagination of the British crowds over here with his exhilarating football.
It would seem at this early stage of the match, Gordon, that Ireland would be content to keep Australia pinned down in their own half, not allowing us to develop any of our support play, which has held us so well throughout this tour.
Michael Lynagh, as he found in the international at Twickenham, having a very difficult first-up kick at goal. He narrowly missed his first one, but he'll be out to steer this one through. He struck the ball very well last week, but the accuracy wasn't quite there for him. No goal. That one missing by a reasonable margin on the left-hand side. 5 minutes of play gone. So an early opportunity for the Australians. But a feature of the Australians' play last week was that they didn't panic when things were going against them in the first half.
Alan Jones has this side superbly fit, and we can maintain concentration at all times. So, you know, there is no reason to panic at all. There, Stephen Williams wins a great tap from the 25.
Tom Lawton to Nick Farr-Jones to Tyneman. Tyneman, another young man known as the Bird, who has come along on this tour in leaps and bounds. Captain of the Australian schools team here against Ireland in '81. You may hear the odd rumble during the game. That's the DART, Dublin rail transport, going underneath the grandstand. Farr-Jones. Fitzgerald picking up the crumbs. Dean. It hasn't gone out. Roger Gould. Brilliant take. Matt Burke. Mark Eller in support. Campisi's outside. Campisi away again on the left. Stretching out brilliantly, but he lost the ball. Anderson picking up for Ireland. But again, fine counter-attack from the Australians just outside their 22.
If Ireland are to halt this midfield assault that Roger Gould is forcing on them, then they're going to have to send more people up midfield on those kicks.
Dean not finding his touch, and Australia coming away. He hasn't found it again. No one back with Gould this time. The Australians must get outside that 10-metre mark. Big tackle by Gould. Fitzgerald there, though, mauling the ball away cleverly. Coming out Australia's way. Came out like an orange pip, but the referee's given it the other way. Right on the 22. Good peel there from the Irish forwards. Expert mauling. Paul Dean having plenty of work in the early stages. Campisi looking for a quick throw, but the ball going out on the other side of halfway. Seven and a half minutes gone. Four-man line out here from the Australians. Correction, three-man. One again by the Irish. Good work by Matthews. Well, I would have thought the referee could have played advantage. The crowd certainly thought so.
Ireland have obviously done their homework on the line out here and have won quite a few of the last line outs.
Ireland have won the first 5 line outs. One-way traffic so far. Campisi goes high. Lost ahead by the halfback Bradley, and a let off for Australia. This Irish forward pack certainly in control in the early stages with their dominance in the line-out.
Your best attacking ball is from the line-out, so unless Australia start winning adequate line-out ball, then we could be hard-pressed to put on first score.
There's a big kick by Liner. It's a lovely-looking kick. And he takes the pressure and the heat off the Australians. Matt Burke was the first man up to that line-out. That's Andy Slack with the ball. So the Irish content to have a full 7-man line out here. Matthews wins well. Lovely pass to Dean. His kick is not a good one. Gould inside his 22 on his left foot. And that one rolling into touch. Clive Norling, the touch judge on the far side. But Roger Gould steady as ever at the back. Yes, that's Clive Norling in the scarlet jersey, that portly figure. He's the man who awarded that sensational penalty try to Australia against the Pumas when Thomas Pedersen was penalised for deliberately knocking the ball forward. Mr. Clive Norling of Wales. First line out for Australia. That's a high kick. McNeil took it well. Australians there in numbers. Oh, good ball for Australia. Lawton, the hooker. What a charge. He's holding the ball up after being tackled, though. Clear penalty that time. Tommy Lawton likes to seagull a bit, and it nearly came off for the Australians, but there just wasn't the support there for him.
Not today, there wasn't, mate. I think in that situation, all Tommy could have done was really just laid it on the ground.
So the line out, 10 metres into Ireland's territory. Still no score in the game. We've had 10.5 minutes of play. Line outs are 6-1 to Ireland, but that's the second win. Mark Ella, the ball behind him. Michael Liner. That one's gone straight back to Ringland. He almost dropped it. But what was the Australian tactic there, Brendan?
Well, possibly to force it back into the box, Gordon, so to halt the sweeping cover coming across. All they're aiming to do now is to get Ireland into two minds as to whether they're going to spin it wide or put it up to them.
That's the halfway line on the left. Lenehan wins well. Loose pass to Dean. Finn is caught. Poitevin first takedown. Australia have it in control. Mark Ella. Liner. Oh, good tackle. Mosfin the tackler on Andy Slack. Forcing the error.
Great pressure by the Irish backs there to contain the Australians, which could have been quite a dangerous attack from them. Just previous to that, the old firm of Roach and Poitevin there, first as usual.
Well, they've been in concert for 13 internationals, up to that English one. But it's the old partnership back here at Lansdowne Road. Dean. McNeil's in. Ringland outside. McNeil. Ball lost forward.
Once again, Chris Roach, first man on the loose ball there.
This is something that we didn't see last week, but Roach obviously making his presence felt in the early stages. It was a missed tackle there by Mark Ella, who was coming across in cover, and McNeil, who is an exciting runner, really splitting the defence wide open. Andy Slack down after a very solid tackle by Mosfin. He is the man having attention here. A heavy clash of the two centres. Fitzgerald just giving a bit of encouragement to his inside centre and also to Paul Dean. Fitzgerald, a great leader. He was a controversial choice as captain of the British Lions to New Zealand. It proved to be an unhappy tour for them. But he certainly is the master in this Irish team and a very popular man here in Ireland, Kieran Fitzgerald. Mosfin. And now the other man on the receiving end, Andy Slack, the Australian skipper. Ten-metre line, Australian territory. Australia doing well in the loose play, but in those lineouts, Ireland leading at the moment by 7-2. Good scrum for Australia. The backs are lined out. Liner, cut out to Gould. He tapped it forward.
Good ball from that scrum there, Gordon, which has been quite an outstanding feature of the Australian play early on in this tour. A stable platform which has provided our backs room to move.
"25 metres out from Australia's goal line. 14 minutes gone in this first half, still no score. Michael Bradley, number 9 for Ireland. Carney at the back. Bradley having all sorts of trouble. It's been lost forward by the Irish. Hesitation there by the scrum half, Mick Bradley, from Cork Constitution. There he is moving round to the other side of the scrum for Ireland.
Once again, the Irish backs will have to be content to cool their heels. Scrums like that you like to win, especially in an attacking position such as that.
Well, a bit of offside play there from Matthews. The referee plays advantage, and Gould Doesn't find touch. So there was no advantage there to Australia. That one's out on the full though. Yes, the flanker was definitely not behind the last man in the ruck. The referee spotted it, but anyway, as it's turned out for Australia, it's not too bad as we're back to halfway. Four-man line out. And coming across the line there by the Irish. Free kick awarded. Australia leading 3-2 in the penalty count. Liner looking for a long one here. He's a beautiful punter of the ball.
Lovely kick from Michael Liner there.
But he's gone for a bit too much distance, I'm afraid. And it's gone into the touch in goal. So back for the 22. So this is where Australia wants to stay. Mark Ella, who had that scintillating game for Australia in the first international. Rodriguez does well. Ireland, though, in front of the kicker. And this certainly is a very dangerous position for the Irish.
Australia could employ a number of moves here. They could come down this right-hand side using 3 men out on either side. So the Irish have to decide whether to bring a man up into the line or leave a man out.
Matt Burke. Bad pass from Farr Jones. The Australians are making a few mistakes in the first 20 minutes. Mistakes they can ill afford. 17 minutes gone in this first half and still no score. Roach at the back. Taken away, though, by Carney. Ella. High kick. Coming off the side of his boot. Everyone onside. Lost ahead by Australia. Australia and Ireland have met 9 times. The Irish leading by 6-3 at the moment. All of those losses, though, for the Irish have been here at Lansdowne Road. Now there's a chance here for a drop goal for Michael Liner. He struck it well. It's a beauty.
Michael Liner will be very pleased with that effort from approximately 40 metres out.
It certainly was a lovely pot by the youngster. He also was in the Australian schools team here against Ireland in 1981. He's one of the babies of the team, but really he has such a cool head.
The Australians would be breathing quite easy now. Well, not easy, but a lot easier now. It's essential that you get those first points on the board in any international.
18.5 minutes elapsed in the first half. Michael Liner with a field goal has given Australia the lead. The Irish forward slow to get back, but Liner, with plenty of room, steered it straight through. So we're moving up towards the second quarter match. This is Moss Finn. Big kick straight to Gould. This is a negative tactic we've seen employed in international rugby these days. Something that certainly could be looked at by the lawmakers, this kicking dead. Liner now with the dropout. Cutler went high. Tapped down by Anderson for Ireland. They have it in control here. Strong play by Jimmy McCoy. Offside play by the Australians. And now a big test here for the Irish goal kicking. They've come into this match without a recognised goal kicker. Moss Finn, the centre, is going to take the short ones, and I believe Mike Kiernan will take the long ones. Mike Kiernan was kicking at practice yesterday, And he slotted 5 out of 5 from 55 metres, would you believe? And I'm a bit surprised he's not taking these short ones. But the pressure now on Moss Finn.
Ireland have achieved what they set out to do from that long kick-off. They've received the ball from the 25 and just hoped that Australia has made a mistake in its own 25, 30-metre area. That's occurred. Now they have a shot at goal. So it can be negative from the team receiving, but it also can be a positive aspect from the team that is restarting play.
Moss Finn, who first played on the wing for Ireland back in 1979. He missed a few seasons, then was recalled in 82 and scored 2 cracking tries against Wales. He doesn't remember either because he was suffering concussion. Hushed moment here at Lansdowne Road. This to level the scores. Out to the right. Plenty of pressure on the goal kickers, as we saw at Twickenham. Liner. Oh, it's a lovely kick. Bouncing just inside the touchline. Great opportunism there by the Australians.
Again, keeping the Irish in two minds, trying to keep them away from the set-piece play all the time and keeping them running around the paddock, which could be to Australia's advantage later on in the second half.
Now Ireland playing the 3-man line-out. Clever variation, lost ahead by Sexton. Not in straight, though, says the referee. The Australian scrum certainly has looked rock solid in the early stages. Phil Orr on this side, opposed to Andy McIntyre. Carr Jones isolating himself. Back to Tyneman. No halfback. Rodriguez. Mr. Fix-It. Mark Yeller. Liner. Solid tackle on slack and liner. Campese. Back to Gould. Matthew Burke was over there. Australia desperately looking for the ball. Here it is to Mark Yeller. Straight ahead. The referee got in the way. Point of it. Picked up by Matthews. Well, Ella had 3 men in support there, one of whom was the referee.
Ireland at 6s and 7s in these broken field situations.
So Australia are most unfortunate in that situation. Australia leading this match by 3 points to 0. A sense of history here too for Tommy Lawton. His late grandfather was a member of the Waratahs team that beat Ireland by 5 points to 3. The All Blacks labelled his grandfather, I should say, the Loping Ghost. So there's the Ireland pack. Phil Orr, number 1, playing in his 44th international in a row today. That must be a record for a prop forward anywhere. First played against France in 1976. And it looks as though Anderson, Willie Anderson, the PE teacher from Dungannon, is having a bit of attention and is now ready for his spot in the second row. 23 minutes gone in the first half. Tight head to Australia, liner. Good mauling though by the Irish forward. Sexton was there. Where's the ball? Australia has pushed Ireland back. Ireland had the ball on their side, but it was a tremendous shove from the Australian forwards.
Great recovery from the Australian forwards, again to maintain that attacking phase of their play.
Vital scrum for Australia. Mark Yeller. Back to liner. Now it's Gould. 2-on-2. Roger Gould lost it forward. Again, desperate Irish defence. Another heavy clash of players. Coming across in cover there to force the error was Matthews, the young man from Arts, and it was a crashing tackle too. Scrum collapsing. pulling the man down, it appears, there against the Australians. Penalties now are 4 each. And it looks as though Hugo McNeil is in a spot of bother. The Irish fullback. Steve Williams, the Australian vice-captain, just going up to query the referee's decision. But I think it's Paul Dean up there with Hugo McNeil. McNeil has won 3 Oxford Blues for rugby. He's a member of the Oxford First 15 and coached the university and captained them last year. But they've had a pretty sorry run, Oxford University. And Hugo McNeil, indeed, when he was selected for this Irish side, was only a reserve for Leinster. He's had an alarming loss of form in recent seasons, but the selectors have gambled on him today, and he's looked reasonably good so far. Paul Dean from St Mary's College in Dublin, looking for touch, and again it's a pretty wobbly old kick, sliding off the side, and to Australia's advantage, just outside the Irish 22. 3-man line out. Williams, Cutler, and Tyneman. Linehan and Anderson. Cutler took it well. Good ball for Australia. Far Jones sniping. Still going. Ella. Mark Ella. What's he going to do? He's standing up in the tackle. Williams. Australia right on the goal line. Where's the ball? Ireland come away. What a let-off. 5-metre scrum.
Ireland looking quite fragile there, close to the end of line-outs and rucks and scrums. And Australia are starting to make dents into that armour around there.
A very inexperienced Irish back row. Only 4 caps between them, and they are missing tackles around the fringes. Tyneman with the ball. 3 metres out. And again, it's carried over the goal line, but held up. We're going to have another scrum for Australia.
We could see Mark Ella looping around Michael Liner here, with Roger Gould ready to crash into that line.
Australia now trying to push. Ella, Liner, Ella. Long pass to Burke. Tyneman. Slackers there. Great work by the Irish back row. High kick. Gould. Oh, what a courageous kick by Gould. The Irish forward pack coming over the top. Australia, though, killing the ball. And a penalty to Ireland. And don't be surprised if Michael Kiernan comes up for a shot at goal. No, they're not going to have the shot. Dean. He hasn't found touch. Matthew Burke to Gould. Campese. Liner. Couldn't hold it. Mark Ella. Well, Campese's pass simply was just too hard there for Liner. But the Australians prepared to counter-attack. And that's a good kick from Ella, taking play up towards the halfway and just cooling things down for the Australians. .29 minutes elapsed in the first half. Australia leading Ireland by 3 points to 0. Enthralling match so far here at Lansdowne Road. Mosfin requiring more attention. So, Brendan, what would Andy Slack be saying to the Australians at the moment?
Well, he'd still be looking to probe Ireland's weaknesses, I think. He would be content also not to be being too outrageously...
Probe Ireland's weakness is not be confident, too outrageously confident,
well,
perhaps.
yes, that was the word I was looking for, Gordon. because sort of in the first half of any international it gets quite difficult, and sort of nothing really happens until that last 20 minutes. So he'd be content just to be probing away at sort of what Ireland's weaknesses have been, and that's been close to that ruck, I must admit. And also from long kicks downfield where they just simply aren't sending up any midfield defence.
Nick Barr-Jones certainly has been probing around the base of the scrum very effectively, and this has been keeping the back row in and committing them to the tighter play. Halfway line away to the right. Tyneman at the back. Cutler. Barr-Jones again. Ella's outside. Grubber kick by Ella. Now it's Hugo McNeil on his left foot. Fine kick by Hugo.
Was a fine kick by the Irish fullback, but Mark Ella has been a superb touch this tour so far, always keeping the opposition guessing as to which way he's going, whether it's blind or open side, and has really come on in the last couple of years of international rugby.
Chris Roach from the University of Queensland, his 17th international for Australia today. This is his 4th match on tour, and it looks as though he may have to leave the field. It's hard to see what the problem is. Dr. Sid Sugarman, who incidentally studied here at the College of Surgeons in Dublin, and Chris Roach, it's hard to see what the injury is. He's pointing to his ribs, but Brendan suggests it's his hip.
It's got to be quite serious for Chris Roach to contemplate coming from the field.
That is a blow for Australia, because Roach has been first to the breakdown on most occasions, and perhaps David Cody now will come on for Australia. Barr-Jones clears well to Ella. Lovely hands. Slack through the dummy. He's in trouble. Barr-Jones. Tyneman. Good support play from the Australians. Barr-Jones puts it high. Slack coming through. McNeil is there. Oh, great take by McNeil. Ireland set it up. But the referee has found a knock forward, and that has really irked the crowd.
Andrew Slack once again ever present to make that tackle, and he looks as though he is down injured.
Well, we've seen a spate of injuries in this match so far. We've had about 30 minutes of play in the first half. It's been pretty torrid stuff in the forwards. David Cody from Jeeps, who played very well last week against England. He could well be coming on for his 3rd cap if Roach is not able to resume his place. And let's hope that Andrew Slack, who has led the Australian side so impressively on this tour, is able to recover from this injury. He's been down a couple of times, but this is a much more rugged pack than the one Australia met last week at Twickenham.
Anyone will admit to the fact that although most of the internationals over here are fairly soft, in that you don't mean hard men, the Irish are by far the hardest.
Liner. Cut out. Campisi. Back to Gould. Australia going backwards. Campisi's put it high. Ringland back there. Took it well. But Ireland answering all of the Australian backline moves so far.
Australia with their entire complement of backs in that backline movement, wanting to stretch that Irish defence. But if you do that, then you haven't got anyone covering behind, and that's one of the reasons why Australia ran into a little trouble there.
They appeared to be running a bit across field too. Won well by Anderson. Line out, 10 metres short of halfway. So the lineouts have been evened up a little. Ireland ahead by 8-6. Barr-Jones yelling the signals across. There's Jimmy McCoy from the Royal Ulster Constabulary. Well won at the front. Campisi, straight through. Look at him go! Pointerman, Matthew Burke's outside. Oh, they've bombed a certain try. Pointerman could have scored himself. Australia home for all money there after a scintillating burst by Campese.
David Campese switching back into centres to halt that flow across the field, found the gap and then linked up with Poitevin.
Matthew Burke. Well, let's hope Australia doesn't regret that lost try. How they failed to score that one, I'll never know. Chris Roach looks as though he's going to come back on. What a courageous little man he is. I didn't think we'd seen the end of him. Well won at the back there by Sexton. Tap forward by Australia. Australia still leading by 3 points to 0. And Ireland taking play outside the 22. Well, I would even venture to say if Campese had kept going himself there, he probably would have scored, because he beat about 5 men. But he has this tendency now, Brendan, of getting in the clear and then passing it straight away. Perhaps he should be backing his judgment a little more.
I think so. It'll just come with experience, Gordon. Also, you know, if you've got 3 gold jerseys around you, then you immediately look for support. And Simon Poitevin especially, you'd expect him to really sort of go on with it. But it's just one of those things, a lot of noise here today, Gordon, so, you know, you can understand why he did hesitate there.
Michael Liner now with a chance to give Australia a 6-point cushion. How do you see the battle up front so far, Brendan?
Well, the honours are fairly evenly shared in the scrum and also in the line-out. Well, I see Ireland a little bit in front in that they're providing good ball. Their 5'8" has plenty of time to relieve pressure. In the rucks and walls, we're doing quite well, Australia, and getting to the breakdown very quickly, but the Ireland forwards are simply diving straight over the top and killing ball, which is a feature of the play here in the British Isles.
Michael Liner. McCoy or waiting. If ever this was a vital kick, he's hooked it. Well, Michael Liner had a very unhappy day with the boot at Twickenham. Things not working out for him so far. And Australia desperately needing points against this very spirited Irish side. Test match delicately poised. Australia ahead by 3 points to 0. Williams took it. He's been dispossessed. Ireland have lost it forward. Bradley again the offender. Now Australia can clear it. Farr Jones. He's a tiger. Poitevin there. Farr Jones again. Liner. Ella. Cut out to Gould. Look at the overlap. Burke. Campese. Goose step, did he? Burke again. Solid defence from Ireland. Heavy pressure now from the Australians. Bradley, the halfback, has made quite a few errors for Ireland. That appears to be a weak link for them at the moment. It's only 15 metres out. Cutler at the back to Farr Jones, to Ella. But the referee saying the throw wasn't straight. Australia in dire need of points before half-time. They've certainly had a big territorial advantage. Here's a push from the Australian scrum. And Bradley finding touch. Midway, 22 and halfway. That'll give him great confidence there, number 9. Michael Bradley. He toured with the Irish schools to Australia in 1980.
Australia might look to consolidate now, put a couple of high ball up to the fullback, or even have a couple of peels off the back of that line out, just to keep that defence away from our backs.
That was off the leg. Mark Ella. This is a probing kick. Trevor England back there. Look at this. Campese coming up like greased lightning. But the Australian backs haven't got their act together so far in this first half. Tyneman tapped it back well to Far Jones. Rodriguez mauling the ball. So too is Cutler. Roach going in there for it. Here it comes. Has it been pilfered by Ireland? Phil took it. Dean. High kick now for Gould. He's calling for it. Up towards the 10-metre line. Australia all onside. Good take by the scrum half Bradley. No half back for Ireland. Topo Rodriguez, you are offside. Just short of the halfway. Rodriguez, known as the Mole, really coming through from the bottom of that ruck. And not surprisingly here, Mike Kiernan is going to have a long-range shot at goal. This is where I felt he might have had one previously. It's about 55 metres out from goal, but as I told you earlier, he slotted 5 of these over in a row at training yesterday. Psychologically, this would be a great blow for Ireland if Kiernan can put this one over. It'll need to be a kick of dusty hair proportions. Hasn't quite got the distance. Not a bad effort, though. The crowd certainly enjoyed it. Liner. About 35 minutes of play gone in this first half. Australia are still ahead by 3-0. Taken away by Linehan. Cutler had tried to tap it back. Now we'll see an appeal here from the Irish forwards. They'll look to possibly run this one. But the Irish backs have had little opportunity in this first half. And in the first half, Kiernan also had a shot, so Ireland have missed with their 2 penalty kicks. Michael Liner has missed with his 2. Kiernan with the kick. Second half underway. Far Jones. Cleverly keeping the ball in play. McNeil. Here comes Burke. And a good probing kick by Nick Far Jones. Another one of the big improvers on tour.
Definitely so. He's put out former Test halfback Philip Cox. Nick Far Jones by far and away the fittest man on the tour.
Three-man line here from the Australians. Cutler. Lost it ahead. Australia certainly hasn't had its way in the line-out. They were expected to be pretty dominant in that area. But the Irish are great spoilers and great contesters. Jimmy McCoy on this side. He's down in the program as a civil servant. But he's a policeman up in Belfast. Australia spoiling the scrum ball.
Again, good work from Nick Far Jones spoiling that scrum ball. Such that now Australia has a fine attacking opportunity.
So the game taking a very similar pattern to last week's Twickenham International. Far Jones. Burke coming through. Matthew Burke. He tapped it forward with his hand. A bit of knee and hand there. He may have been a bit unfortunate. But again, it was a deft little placement from Far Jones. "18 metres out from the Irish goal line. And that kick has taken place outside the 22.
The pressure right right on Ireland now. Australia with the ball into the line-out. They've got the back row forwards out in the middle of the back line, so we could see a move coming back close into the forwards now, just to tie up that Irish defence.
Good ball for Mark Ella. Liner to Poitevin. That's the possession Australia wanted, but they were a bit slow there. Here it comes. Far Jones. Mark Ella. Field goal. It's a good one. Oh, lovely punt there by Mark Ella. The second field goal of the match. And Australia really wanted that one. Ella cool as a cucumber. And Australia in the lead. Brendan Moon.
Mark Ella, the master of the field goal. Given a little room, and he's just put it straight through the middle there. Again, more pressure on Ireland and taking the pressure off Australia there.
So that point scorer for Australia coming after 3 minutes of the second half. Australia ahead now by 6 points to 0. A couple of Irish players down for attention. One is Willie Sexton, the flanker, and the other, I do believe, is Ronan Carney. But it is imperative now that Australia lift the tempo of this game, because the Irish look a little weary, and in this initial 10 minutes of this second half, if Australia are to win this test match, then they must lift the tempo and really tire these blokes out, run them all around the field, and then in that last 20 minutes strike the death blow. That's certainly the way it worked out last week. But as we saw last week, the Australians haven't really converted their pressure into points. They could have been even 12 or 15 points ahead at this stage. But they find themselves only 6 ahead, and we've had nearly 4 minutes of play in the first half. Williams tapped it back, taken courageously by Roach. Australians drive ahead. Where's the ball? Good work by the Australian forwards. Midway, 22 and halfway. Australia in the lead by 6 points to 0 here at Lansdowne Road. And we've had 4.5 minutes of the second half.
Australia's back line out deep, so there could be a cut one on here with Roger Gould coming out wide. If confronted by a defender, then I would expect Roger then to probably chip over the defence and run it into touch further on down the field.
Coming back out the same tunnel. Again, the Australian scrum holding very well. Liner with a torpedo kick straight to McNeil. He was in perfect position. He's a great runner, this man. Tyneman the tackler. Sexton in there for Ireland. Good ball for the Irish. Bradley. No high tackle. It was around the shoulders. The crowd trying to referee that time. There's an overlap here. Finn. Lost ahead by Ireland. Good defence, Australia. But the crowd calling for a high tackle. Here's our friend, Mr. Norling. The referee adjudged the tackle as being around the shoulders. I thought it was. What's he going to do, Mr. Bob Francis? He's speaking to both captains. It looks as though it's a penalty to Ireland. Well, I thought the referee saw it as it happened. He should have. But on the touch judge's report, he's given a penalty to Ireland. And I find that a rather puzzling decision.
I really think Australia have been harshly done by Gordon. The guy tended to step back inside Mark Ella, and in that situation, your only alternative is just to stick an arm out and hope for the best. And he's obviously caught him around the shoulders, and without any harm being caused.
Well, the referees are very stern on any high tackles, but that appeared to be quite a legitimate one. Round the shoulders is quite allowable. Kiernan now. He struck his first kick very well. It's gone through. Off the uprights. 3 points in it. Ireland right back in the match. Here's the incident again. You can judge for yourself. This is Mullen. Well, perhaps it was a little bit round the neck, but a very harmless tackle. And on seeing the replay, perhaps we have to give the benefit of the doubt there to the adjudicators. McNeil, left foot.
Michael Lynott driving that ball very well into the corners, thus reducing the angle that the kicker then has at finding touch. So Australia now have a good attacking line out only 30 metres out from the Irish line.
Composure is the order of the day here for Australia. They cannot afford any panic. That's a very timely reply by the Irish, something England wasn't able to do last week. So a real test of the Australians' mettle. Williams wins well. Tuella. Liner. Field goal attempts. That's not a good one. Out to the right. No panic needed here by the Australians. That was a pretty ambitious attempt by Liner, but he really is a beautiful field goal exponent.
Ambitious, but with a man of his skills, not too much of a worry if he just set himself.
Ireland have come back strongly. .35 metres out from the Irish goal line. Australia leading by 6 points to 3. A very tense situation here at Lansdowne Road. Bradley. The Australian forward swarming through. And a couple of punches thrown. Fairly harmless, I would suggest. Bradley, the halfback, under a lot of pressure that time with the loose tap, and the whole of the Australian forward pack arrived on top of him. Michael Bradley hasn't had the happiest of days behind the Irish forwards, and he's been given a pretty torrid time by Nick Farr-Jones.
Michael is being pressured by both the Australian scrum moving his scrum backwards and his own forwards not giving him much protection, and also Nick Farr-Jones continually hounding him.
Fitzgerald gives his halfback a tap on the head. Bradley again a little bit slow there in clearing the ball. Dean with a hurried kick into touch. Australia leading by 6 points to 3. 10 minutes gone in the second half. 35 metres out from the Irish goal line. Rodriguez got it back to Farr-Jones. Oh, there's a big drive from the Irish forwards. Now they can run it. Mullen. Here comes McNeil. Overlap for England. Markella. He can't take him. Finn. Kick charged down by Gould. But brilliant attacking sortie there from the Irish. Norling has his flag out again. We've seen another flare-up. You may have seen it at home. We'll have to wait for Mr. Norling, but that's Willie Anderson, the number 5 there for Ireland. A pretty fiery customer. He toured Argentina with the Penguins and stole the Argentine flag and was held in custody for 3 months over in Buenos Aires. A colourful man, but this is great attack from the Irish backs.
It is. They've certainly made inroads into the Australian defence. I think David Campese might have stayed with his winger there and to prevent them getting around the Australian defence. I think the problem might have been when Matt Burke has tackled Trevor England. I think Trevor England took exception to that.
Another penalty to Ireland. It's pretty well an identical spot. Andrew Slack is arguing with the referee. The touch judge is coming up again. Mr. Norling, a controversial character, has his way again. And Kiernan now with a chance to level the scores. That really all resulted from a tremendous drive by the Irish forwards. It was a loose ball back to Far Jones from the line out, and then the Irish forwards arrived in numbers. The ball popped out for their back line, who swept play upfield. Kiernan now to level the scores. His confidence must be high after that last kick. He's got it. Lansdowne Road has erupted. Australia's in trouble here. They led by 6-0. But they've given away a couple of penalties. And they've allowed Ireland back into the match. Hugo McNeill, former British Lions fullback. That was a bad kick. Can the Australians bounce back?
Well, at this stage of the match, they've got to do something fairly soon, Gordon. After drawing level 6-all, the Irish aren't showing any marvellously better skills than Australia, but they're just maintaining that pressure all the time, getting into our half and then sniping for a goal from there.
Stolen by Matthews. Taking the ball out of Cutler's arms. Another great drive from the Irish forwards. That really is inspiring stuff for the crowd. The Australian pack has got to get itself together. The Irish pack now with its tails up. Carney. Back it goes to Matthews. More good ball. Straight back to Gould. Hurried kick by Gould. Oh, good tackle. Ireland again. Far Jones had the ball. It was flicked back to him. Wasn't expecting it. Knock on.
Great pressure from Roger Gould there. Lovely high kick, and he's followed his own kick through. Put pressure on the fullback, knocked the ball out of his hands, and it's actually come back the Australian side.
Fitzgerald and Sexton very slow to get up there. But things not going Australia's way, I'm afraid. And if you're an Australian supporter, let's hope that's not an ominous sign. But the Irish now are playing inspired football. The Australians, we saw them come back against Midlands during the week at Leicester. They were down 18-9. Yet they were able to come back and win that game by 21-18. Kieran Fitzgerald. He's just been appointed an aide-de-camp to the President of Ireland, Dr. Paddy Hillary. He's a very rugged customer. Rodriguez and McCoy on this side. Australian scrum again, pushing the Irish back. This is where the Irish forwards have been able to push Australia. They're trying to peel it. Where's the ball? Here it comes. Bradley caught by Ella, ball and all. Roach is there too. Can Australia maul this ball away? Mark Ella doing his level best. Well, no sign of it coming out. Bradley held on for dear life, and Ireland has the scrum feed. "17 minutes gone in the second half. Scores are level. Australia 6, Ireland 6.
These tight defensive situations for Ireland have got to be taxing them, so hopefully Australia will really cut loose in the next few minutes.
The Australian scrum has gained a degree of mastery. That's better ball, though. Paul Dean not gaining much ground. And the line out still 27 metres out from the Irish goal line. We'll keep you posted with the time clock. Tyneman at the back. Ella. Slack. Straight through. Lovely bust. Cutler there in support. Mark Ella again. Poitevin. Campese. Back to Poitevin. 3 metres out. Australia wants this ball. That's more like it, Australia. Great work there by Ella, Poitevin, and the forward pack who released it. Mark Ella's lost his boot. He certainly hasn't lost his touch, though.
Once again, Australia is switching the points of attack, so Ireland are unable to marshal any appreciative defence. Only last-ditch defence on the line there. Roger Girl, no doubt, is taking a dive so that Mark Ella can get his boot on as quickly as possible.
The Australian forwards in a huddle. The game at a very crucial point at the moment. Australia really has to score from this situation. They're deep into Irish territory. They have the scrum feed. The scores are level at 6-all. And the match is in the balance. Here it comes. Burke! Like a steam train. He's held up, though. The Australian forwards were slow to get there, and Ireland has the scrum feed. Full marks there to the Irish back row. Ireland will be looking to clear the ball well out of their territory. Dean. That's a better kick. Over the 22. But Australia still down in this attacking zone. Can they stay there? 20 minutes of play gone in the second half. Ireland 6, Australia 6. Anderson won it. Back to McCoy. Now it's Sexton. Good play there from McCoy. He still has it. They're going to run it here. McNeil. Keelan's outside. Kim. Australia in trouble. Campese there. Offside play there. Obstruction, it appears. Obstruction by the Australians. I didn't see it.
Ireland showing great skills there, skirting the entire touchline, the entire length of the field there.
The writing is on the wall for Australia, I'm afraid. They haven't really taken their opportunities in this game. Let's have a look for any late obstruction here. Burke doesn't take his man. And yes, there's your late tackle, the man put out of the play there by one of the Australian back rowers. And just as well Campese was there, because it was the flying Brendan Mullen who was descending on that ball very rapidly. So a correct decision there. Silly mistake by the Australians. Kiernan now to give Ireland the lead. Gone in this international in the second half. 3 penalties conceded by the Australians. 3 penalty goals were playing from the boot of Michael Kiernan, and it's Ireland now in the lead for the first time. A 3-point advantage. This is the hour of calling for the Australian forwards. The Irish pack showing signs of getting on top.
Now will be the time when we see this bevy of moves that Mark Ella has up his sleeves. Very innovative, and have the crowds on the edge of their seat over here in the British Isles.
Farr Jones. Poitevin Morling. Tyneman has it. Now it's Roach at halfback. Gould to Burke. Irish back row there first again. Sexton was the man. Now Ireland are going to try and run it. Dean with a big kick downfield. Campese there for Australia. That one's going out on the full by a mile. Campese was outside his 22.
And confronted by a prop of all people. So the Irish team really have their tails up now, Gordon. And Australia must really look to their reserves and really try and stretch them again and consolidate any possession that they get.
If Australia loses this one, it'll be the game that got away. They should have been 10 points up at halftime. Tyneman coming through. Knock on by the Australians. The bounce of the ball really going against the Wallabies in this second half. But full marks to the Irish. Wheeled by Australia. Here's trouble. Mark Ella lost it. Liner picks up. And what a great kick that was. The Irish back row, Carney, and also Sexton, causing havoc there amongst the Australian inside backs. .22-metre line. The Australian line-out work has been very sloppy in the second half. And again, it's Anderson who has it. Ireland very strong up front. Australia come in though. Oh, that's a much better drive from the Wallaby forwards. Linehan trying to release it.
Great driving from the Australian forwards, especially Steve Tynan and Enrique Rodriguez there.
24 minutes gone in the second half. Ireland 9-6. Back to Gould. Well, he was under heavy pressure, and Australia still down in this danger area. Short line out here from the Irish. 3-man. 2-man.
No doubt an attacking ploy to try and suck Australia's back row in here.
Picked up by Linehan. Roach is there, so too is Poitevin. But the Irish control it. There's an overlap. Ringland. He's a strong man. He lost it forward. Mark Ella. 30 metres out from the Australian goal line. Farr Jones. Australia not there in numbers. They're very loose. Ella now. Campese. Ireland go ahead. Ringland. If Campese hadn't have tripped over there, he would have gone close to scoring.
Unlucky for David Campese, but again, Australia a bit short on support then for David. He was tackled, ball on the ground, and no one there to seal off.
25.5 minutes gone in this second half. Both sides now calling on their reserve energy strengths.
Andrew Slack even looking in a bit of trouble in the background there. He's had a sore shoulder for the start of this tour, and it looks as though he might have injured it once again.
Donald Linehan, selected for the Lions tour of New Zealand. But let's watch this incident again. Mark Ella there. Lawton was in at halfback. Mark Ella quickly clearing to Campese. And if he hadn't have slipped over here, just the ankle tap, there was only one Irishman in front. There's Jimmy McCoy, the big policeman. Solid tackle by Lawton. But this man, Ringland, as Brendan Moon told us before the match, very strong indeed. Very hard man to bring down. Donald Linehan, the 25-year-old bank officer from Cork. Here's Matthews at the front. And that penalty desperately needed by the Australians. Australia could be going to put this one up, I think. That's not a good kick. This is Kiernan. Outside his 22. Former Irish 200-metre sprint champion. Showing some different skills with his feet that time.
Ireland very flat in defence there, and Michael Liner has gone for the long kick over the winger there to try and push Ireland back into their own 25.
Good ball for Australia. Well, the passes are going behind the men. Burke busts through one tackle. Didn't go on with it. Roach is there for Australia. There it is. This is Liner. Where's the support? Australia go in. Here it comes. Barr Jones. Slack. Overlap. Wild pass. Campese. Tyneman. Gallant stuff from the Australians. Ellert. Now it's Campese. Can he get there? David Campese. No try. Another one goes begging. 28.5 minutes gone. Ireland desperately lucky to get out of that one. But still they have this 3-point lead. Here's the long pass from Gould, which missed everyone. But watch Mark Ella here. Tyneman supporting well. Then Steve Williams comes into the fray. Ella now with this delightful kick. It should have resulted in a try, but again the bounce of the ball, evading Campese. No one in front. That must be the ultimate frustration for the Australians.
Well, 2 missed tries now, possibly 12 points in it too, which could have given Australia a safe buffer there on which to finish this match.
The encouraging thing for the Australians, though, is that they are finishing very strongly. They are answering the challenge, and they will fight all the way to the wire. The Irish are definitely showing signs of tiring. So Australia now has the scrum.
I think what Australia must do is stop pushing the panic buttons, because they have all the time in the world if they just want to settle back and use that ball as they know they can. Just they're trying to hurry things a little now and tend to muck things up.
Here's Mark Ella. Field goal attempts. It's a good one. Scores a level. Second field goal for Mark Ella. That gives Australia great heart. And they really needed that one, Brendan Moon.
Definitely. Mark, with all his options closed off because of very tight defence, just propped on one foot and slotted it through, the easiest of field goals.
Psychologically now, Australia is back in the driving seat. Ireland will be wanting to keep this ball down in Australia's half. But the Australians have answered the challenge magnificently. Tyneman going high, but losing it forward. That was a vital loss forward there by Australia. Initiative back with the Irish. Let's look at the clock. I know you're very anxious about the time. 31 minutes gone by our clock. Still 9 minutes left in the game. Australia wheeling. Now Ireland can run it. Australian back row tied in. Roger Gould. Here can see if he can repeat the dose. .31.5 minutes gone in this second half. What a cliffhanger here at Lansdowne Road. Ireland 9, Australia 9. Australia's points have come from 3 drop goals, 2 by Ella, 1 by Liner. Big kick by Gould. That's the one Australia wanted. That's the 10-metre line in the middle.
Now it's imperative that we mount an attack and do something with it. We must put points on the board now.
One sense is that the Australians are finishing slightly stronger in the forwards. The backs have met stern opposition today from the Irish. Cutler, brilliantly won. Ella, Mark Ella takes it up. Liner. Oh, man taken out of the play. Matthew Burke. Campese. Mark Ella, what a try.
Superb try from the Australians. All from Mark Ella's work, taking it right up to the Irish defence and putting Michael Liner through a lovely gap.
Mark Ella scores his 3rd try in Test match football, the 2nd try in internationals, and see here how Andy Slack is taken out of the play.
Here comes Mark up to the defence. Michael Liner straight through the gap. Slacky slung to the ground there. Then Matthew Burke straight through that gap. Look at the power of that man. And then Campo just manages to halt the defence. Mark loops round. And a lovely touchdown in the corner there. Superb support work from the Australians. And Michael Liner throwing his arms in the air in delight there.
Well, if Michael Liner can put this one over, Australia will zoom into overdrive. But that field goal by Ella was the thing that put Australia back into the composure situation.
Andrew Slack would now be laying down the law to his forwards and also to his backs. They must maintain possession at all costs. Nothing risky, just everything 100%.
33 minutes gone. Michael Liner. And he certainly hasn't struck them well today, the young man. So Ireland can still snatch victory with a converted try. What's this brilliant backline play from Mark Ella, putting Liner through the gap. Liner did so well. Now Matthew Burke, the strong man. Campese in and out, knowing his man Ella was outside, and the Australian camp delighted. The match is far from finished, though. 34 minutes gone. Ireland's made a mistake. They haven't gone the 10 metres. Back to halfway. Australia leading by 13 points to 9. I don't know about you, Brendan, but I've lost all my fingernails. You've only got 5 at the moment, haven't you?
I can chew on a bit of plaster of Paris, I think, Gordon.
Good scrum for Australia. Liner. Campese coming through on this one. But again, this man Ringland in good position. He's strong, no support. Slack and Campese bundle him into touch.
Great kick from Michael Liner there, pushing the ball into the sidelines. And again, superb defence from Andrew Slack and David Campese.
One senses here that the Australians can score another try. It was a superb take by Cutler from that line out that led to the try previously. This is Campese, the young man with all the confidence in the world. He's looking to play the ball deep. Ireland getting desperate now. Ringland's there. Hugo McNeil.
Finding no opening in the Australian defence.
8 metres from the halfway line. Australia leading Ireland by 13 points to 9. 2 field goals by Mark Ella, a try by Mark Ella, and a field goal by Michael Liner. 35 minutes gone in the second half. The Irish forwards have taken the game right up to the Australians. Tyneman to Rodriguez. Great sweeping there by the loose head prop. Ireland have spoiled, but they were offside.
Once again, Steve Tyneman shows his mastery at the back of the line-out. He has no peer in the British Isles so far this tour at the back of the line-out and has provided a superb ball for the Australian backs to work with.
So here he is, the little man Michael Liner, who did very well in that last try. His goal-kicking touch has deserted him today. he'll be a hero if he can put this one over, because that indeed would put Australia out of touch, I would feel, as far as the Irish are concerned. 36 minutes gone, second half. Australia leading 13-9. This for the 7-point cushion. 50 metres out from goal. 12 metres in from this broadcast touchline. He's got the distance. It's pretty close. And it hit the uprights. You can't get any closer than that. 13-9 to Australia. What can Ireland do? They need a converted try to take the victory away from Australia. Good drop out by Finn. Steve Williams tapped it back well to Rodriguez. Australia set it up. And again the Irish are offside. Australia taking the ball away on the short side, looking to set up another ruck. The Irish forwards now very tired. And yet another shot for Michael Liner, who so far has missed with all 4 attempts, but this one is probably much more to his liking. Still, it's not an easy kick because being around the corner style, it's on the wrong side for him. .37.5 minutes gone in the second half. Again, Australia with a chance to take a 7-point lead. He's done it this time.
Noddy throws his arms in the air and says, well, how was that different to the rest of them? It looked as though Noddy had relaxed a lot more on that kick than he had on the previous ones. And so that'll be a tremendous boost to his confidence for this afternoon.
Michael Liner has given Australia the lead now and surely has put the Australians out of sight. 37.5 minutes gone. Liner kicks his first penalty goal. Remember, though, that he kicked that lovely field goal, which gave Australia a 6-0 lead. So allowing for injuries, about 3 minutes to go. Australia 7 points in front. Nick Farr-Jones, big kick downfield to McNeil. The Irish have really got to throw caution to the wind. When you've nothing to lose, you can try everything.
Once again, they're confronted by a wall of gold jerseys. Australia managed to get the ball.
Tyneman puts it high. Here comes Liner. Mullen couldn't take it. Paul Dean does, but Australia now coming through in streams. They're a mile offside there. The referee could have given a penalty there to Ireland. Now he will. Australia round with the halfback Bradley, but Australia looking to run from that situation. They have the confidence. They know the victory is almost theirs. The Irish really have to try everything now. Will they put it high? Will they take a tap? Well, they're looking for touch. One would have thought with only 1.5 minutes to go, they would have been trying something a little more adventurous than that. Let's see what they do here. Long throw. Australia's way. Tap forward there by Ireland. The referee says play on. Towed ahead by big Steve Williams. Mosfin to McNeil. Now it's Ringland. Campese the tackler. Good pass in field. Liner intercepting the ball. Line out to be played. Midway 22 and halfway Australia's territory.
This part of the test match is when things get desperate for the team in arrears. Ireland will be trying everything at their disposal and probably getting a little bit frantic too in their efforts.
Bradley, slow floated pass. Mullen. Now it's Kiernan. He's fast. He's gone straight through. Was he on one knee there when he passed? I thought he was. Maybe he wasn't held in the tackle. But Kiernan, the former Irish 200-metre sprint champion, found a gap as big as Sydney Heads that time and had Australia really backpedaling.
To Matt Burke's credit, he tidied up after his wee mistake and again forced the Irish into a hurried pass, and that's what's forced his line out of this particular part of the park.
It's been a grueling match. Australia won here last time by 16 points to 12. They're ahead 16-9 here at the moment. This will be Australia's 4th victory against Ireland in the history of internationals between the two countries. Ireland has won 6, but let's not get carried away. We still have about a minute and a half to go. Australia leads by 7 points, but the Irish are far from done with. Inside the Australian 22. Another long throw, big jump there. Offside play by Ireland. That man had to be in front of the man who lost it forward. But the referee gives the scrum to Australia.
A little respite for Australia now with only a couple of minutes to go.
We're certainly well into injury time. Bar Jones. That's the famous Gary Owen. Referee looks at his clock. I'd say we're inside the last minute. Australia leading by 16 points to 9. They've done it pretty tough out there today, but that makes it 2 out of 2 in their campaign for a first ever Grand Slam of the internationals over here in Britain and Ireland. Australia try to ruck it back. Here it comes for Ireland. Now it's Mullen. He's quick. He's tackled. Bradley kicks ahead. Campese's back there. Keeps it in play. Hooks it back over his shoulder. That'll just about break Ireland's hearts. There's the full-time whistle. The 8 Wallabies have done it. They've done it pretty tough, but they've showed all the character and courage that we know they're famous for. And this has been a memorable victory this afternoon by 16 points to 9.